This podcast is brought to you by Gamefly.com. Go to www.gamefly.com/BEAST to get a free 15-day 2-disc trial.
What's up, you sexy motherfucker? We're back, bitches.
I know.
Felicia Michaels.
Joey Diaz.
What's going on with you? What'd you do this week? Where the fuck you been?
Oh, dude, I am so crazy busy as always. Brody, I never have a moment of my time, and I think I have ADHD. I seriously have some ADHD. Except, and I'm sorry I'm going to go there this early up on the podcast since you just spoke to me about this very subject. But I have ADHD except for when it comes to sucking cock, then I'm completely focused. It's really hindered me in my personal life and social life and business life.
Sucking that helmet, you
I
think
know,
other things,
yeah, nothing is, but if I'm not sucking helmet, everything is like, oh, and that's shiny over there, and oh, what can I do with that? And oh my God, Brody Stevens. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I do that too. I look around.
Yeah.
I look around too. What's happening, Brody Stevens?
Hey, I'm here, feeling good. Oh, I should just talk. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Did the Burn last night, Comedy Central. Felt good, got laughs. And my HBO show's been getting good response. Brody
Really
Stevens
good
enjoy it.
Really good fucking response.
And just doing comedy, trying to stay busy, stay active, hiking. I'm going to go swimming later today.
Where you swim at?
Over in Culver City.
Oh, you do?
How many laps do you do?
Today's my first lesson. I have a coach. They're going to set me up with a coach just to get me in the water. I mean, I know how to swim. I don't...
But no, that's different swimming. They teach you how to breathe, how to get more out of your strokes. Because I was part of the master swimming program. Don't look at the physique. You can't tell why.
Right.
But I learned, sometimes you don't know. It's how to use the least energy in the water with what you're getting in. So like a lot of times I'll go like this and hit, and all you're supposed to do is just move your head and breathe. You're not supposed to do all that. That's what they work on. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. That's good for you.
Yeah, so I'm going to have a coach there. I have 3 months free lessons.
Wow.
That I got set up with.
How many times a week?
Very nice.
It might only be once a week.
You're going to get yoked. Well, you'll like it. You'll get yoked, dog.
Yeah, I used to love swimming.
Yeah, you'll get yoked from swimming.
I mean, I wasn't a big lap swimmer, but I would go in the pool at my last place and swim. I have my little things on my hands for extra water resistance. I do my little exercises in there. It felt great. I need to get back into the water, but this is going to be probably more lap in proper form. That's what we're going to work on. Get me good at it. My dad was a good swimmer. Junior Olympics.
Really?
Yeah.
My brother was a good swimmer, and we would take swimming lessons together, and I still to this day cannot swim, and he almost got into the Junior Olympics, but he was a really good swimmer.
Yeah, swimming is, I think a lot of Jewish guys are good at swimming for some reason. Mark Spitz, great swimmer, Jewish, Olympic winner. Michael Phelps, not Jewish. But I'm going to get in there and do it. I can pick up my Speedos, my little goggles, my little fins.
Are you really going to get Speedos?
Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of them, this coach.
Yeah? Are you going to get one of those like suits like they wear in the Olympics where no air can be between you and the speed
I don't think I'm that,
whatever they call that.
I'm that not that deep into swimming yet. We'll see. I'm going to start small, start with the Speedo. Not a small Speedo,
got
but
the goggles and everything?
They got goggles. These swimming coaches have everything.
Everything.
So they got it all saved. He's got boxes of goggles, boxes of Speedos, boxes of all that stuff. So I'm going to go do that and see how it feels. I need to jump back in the water.
I hope they're fresh Speedos.
Yeah, I think they're clean. Okay. I hope they're clean.
You hope. Well, if they have the lump in it, it's got a little lump in it.
Inspect it carefully is all I'm saying.
I was talking to a guy this morning. I didn't want to get off the subject, but I wanted to remember to tell you something. I was talking to a guy this morning. He was saying that he wanted to write an expose on the camaraderie about comics, amongst comics.
Oh, really?
And he asked me what I thought, and I talked about Lenny Bruce, my love of, he would go to Chelsea and fuck strippers and hookers and do heroin with, what's the guy's name? The jazz musician.
Louis Armstrong?
No, the other guy.
Coltrane.
And they would do heroin. And it was such a glorious life, and comics hung out together. Then you moved to L.A. You follow me? Then all that's great till you move to L.A. But I always ask about you, and I ask obscure people about you. Anybody see Brody? And they'll tell me, whenever I mention your name, you have so many people in your corner. in this town. You know, when you say to somebody, hey, Joey D's got an HBO special. That fat fuck, do they know he does coke? You know, somebody in the room that's sweet like Felicia will say, good for him. But when comics sit around going, did you see fucking Brody's show? And I'm telling you the truth. You know, I don't fuck around like that. That you have a lot of fucking love pushing you, bro.
Yeah, I know.
And you have the love elevating you. Only good things can happen. When your comrades talk like that about you, because they'll say it in a big circle, but then when it's me and Felicia alone, I go, can you fucking believe Brody on HBO? What a waste. I've never heard that. And they can't say it to me because you know me. I'll tell them to go fuck their mother. But you have a lot of love, man.
I know I do.
A lot of love around by fucking major league people. People that are like, dog, that's my dog Brody. So, man, sometimes we think there's nobody out there. There really is people out there for you, Brody. And I'm one of them. You can call me anytime, whatever the fuck you want to say. You don't understand. Last night, Felicia, what do I talk about on Tuesday nights? Sons of Anarchy?
Yes.
You can't get me out of the house on Tuesday nights out of respect. I fucking switched it last night and watched you. I didn't know. I had my night set. I was going to watch the UFC countdown from 6 to 7. I went and got a piece of red velvet cake with the fucking icing. The icing is medicated, and the cake is. I ate this thing getting ready for my brother Brody last night. I went 6 points over my fucking Weight Watchers point schedule to watch you and enjoy you last night. So,
well, thank you.
I don't do that for anybody. I watch other comics on Showtime or on the Tonight Show when they're coming on, but I sat there and watched you live. It wasn't live; it was taped. But
right.
You know what I mean. So you have a lot of love, bro. So trust me, when you have that in your life, you can't lose.
And I know I have people supporting me.
Tremendously. Tremendous, dog.
But I have a problem supporting me. I'm not good with me.
Neither, I ain't. She isn't. I'm not at all. I'll curse myself out every fucking day. Every time I look at a joke.
We had an emotional breakdown the other day when on the phone while I was grocery shopping and he was walking by from the Y.
I always have emotion. We all do.
At John's supermarket, not even a nice supermarket.
But I get it out. I think about what I said and I think about what I'm feeling. And you pick your pants up and you just go another day. And then you break down again. I do it all the fucking time. I cry when I watch The Godfather. You know.
Yeah, I'm just... You know, I've been going through a lot the last year. I know I can turn it on and I could do something like The Burn, or I could do Chelsea Lately, or I could do audience warm-up.
You could do stand-up. Somebody said they seen you do a set a couple of weeks ago and you were on fire.
Yeah.
So you do a couple fucking things, Brody.
So I can do that, but the last year and maybe more so the last 7-8 months, it's been hard for me. Just I had to move out of my apartment when all that stuff went down a year and a half or whatever it was. 13 months ago when I had my little quote-unquote breakdown.
Whatever. It was just a bad fucking day.
Yeah, and it's been hard to recover. I'm not the same guy. Even though I'm probably better, I don't feel it. And I don't want to I'm not as talkative, I'm not as energetic, I'm not getting joy out of things like I used to. I haven't gone to one Dodger game. I used to go to all the Dodger games.
I even went to 2 Dodger games this year. You want to go next week?
I'd like to go. Yeah, I need to go. But I would go on the field. I'd go hang out with the players. I had a pass, and I'd go down there. They all know me, and my buddy was a coach last year, and I was able to. I could still go this year, but I didn't go. I'm going through. You know, when you have I don't want this all to be a mental health hour, but when you have a manic episode for whatever reason, whether it was me getting off my meds or stress or pressure or whatever triggers, 100% of the time you go down, you go to the bottom, you go up and then you go down. And I've been pretty low and it's hard. And I don't like to I just don't have the energy. I'm lethargic, but I get up, I can go to the grocery store, I can do my spots at night, but I'm just not getting joy out of the things I used to, even music or playing the drums, or my libido is low. I may still see pretty girls and go, oh, that's nice and all that, but I just don't have it. And then I'm driving around and my mind wanders, and I'm sure what I'm feeling is not, a lot of people feel it, but it's not what I ever felt before. So I have a therapist. I talk to her. They have me on medication. I have to, and maybe this medication is causing me.
That was my next question.
To feel that way. And I'm between a rock and a hard place. I gotta try this medication out. I messed up last year by stopping it, and I gotta take this. And I feel that creatively it's stifles me a little bit, but energetically, but maybe it's just the depression. I mean, I'm in the middle of, again, I don't want to be a downer, but I am in a depressed state, and I wish I could just snap out of it. Like, Brody, snap out of it, be tough. I wish it was that easy. It's not. I lie in bed, but I do get out of bed. You called me today, got me getting coffee. I try to go hiking. I try to do podcasts. But I'm a little overwhelmed by things. I just can't. I have a tough time doing it, so I got to take it at my own pace. And if I get lucky and I get to be on the burn or pick up audience warm-up gigs or get a stand-up spot around town, I do it, but I just don't have that same fire that I had a year ago, and it could be because, it got me on a mood stabilizer. So it's kind of like even me out a little bit, and maybe it's going to take a year or two, whatever, to get used to being on this and this safer version of me. They just don't want me to go manic again. But I feel that I went this episode I had last year is like I stopped my meds cold turkey. You're not supposed to, and that kind of triggered, in my eyes, me being out of character, and I had a lot of things going on also, good things, and I have good things going on now, but you're not supposed to stop cold turkey, and it kind of just set me off, and now I'm, because of that, I got to I'm doing my time, meaning like, okay, I'll do the mood stabilizer, I'll do the therapy, which I need. I don't not like doing the therapy. I've actually increased my sessions, and it's hard. It's the hardest thing I've gone through.
What actually, when you are going through something like that and you're at your house, I mean, do you say, okay, I have to do 3 activities today? I mean, do you have a set thing that you just go to get yourself at least out of the house?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go to the coffee house. I'll go to Coffee Bean. I'll eat I do eat cereal. I'll eat a banana at home. An apple. I don't cook for myself really, but I get some food in my stomach, and then I'll go to Coffee Bean for an hour. That's how long they validate the parking. And then I try to work in a hike 3 times a week, go call some friends and other comedians, and we go hike Runyon Canyon. And then at night, probably 3-4 nights a week, I can get up on stage. So I try to do that. And then along the way, things pop up. Podcasts, pop up once or twice a week, which is good. And
but
I'll do
are there
those.
things specifically that elevate your mood, a little bit, that you do where you're feeling a sense of content in the middle of having that activity? You know what I mean?
Sleeping.
Yeah.
You sleep a lot? This medication makes you sleep a lot. Also.
It can, yeah. But I'm also... Sometimes I get up, wide awake at 8 in the morning. I'm not, I haven't been sleeping as I have some anxiety too, which I never had. I have these sweaty palms, and I don't know. I mean, maybe, I could be anxious about the future. I could be anxious about, that's what anxiety is a lot of the time, about the future. I mean, I had done warm-up, basically audience warm-up on these TV shows for 9 years. I was at Best Damn Sports Show, that, and then I went to Chelsea. And I did that, and that was a regular gig, regular paycheck. Chelsea would put me on the show every so often. I was feeling good, and I would do comedy at night, a few nights a week. I'd be exercising, swimming. I lived right here in the neighborhood. Everything was good. And then I quit the show kind of abruptly. I had some, I butted heads with some producers, and that kind of led to me quitting. I may have been fired, but I quit before they could fire me. And that kind of put me out on my own. Okay, I'm not doing warm-up. I made a choice to myself not to be this warm-up guy. So I'm going to take it to the next level. I got to be more of a comedian, more of a podcaster, going out on the road. And I think I had to get adjusted to that, creating that structure, being, I'm my own commodity now. Whereas when you're doing warm-up and you got that gig, you could not fall into bad habits, but you don't necessarily grow as a stand-up comedian. You're not growing with going out on the road every weekend, dealing with different, club people or getting audiences in or what have you. So that's been, difficult for me. But I picked up some things. I did the HBO show, which was great. That was structure. We shot that, and we had editing and all that.
Where did you shoot that at?
Mostly, yeah, all around LA. Mm-hmm. Just, it was kind of, it was reality based. We had some sketches, some fantasies, but it was basically me. Initially, it was like going to be me going to the next level, me getting out of warm up and becoming more of a comedian. Mm-hmm. And within that, we would have sketches and some family stuff or what have you. And that's what we did the pilot on. The pilot was my sister and I reconciling for my mom's 80th birthday, and that was it. You know, and they liked it. It was kind of like, you got my mom in there, you got my sister in there, you got me doing comedy, my relationship with Zach Galifianakis, why he thinks I'm what I am or what I can do. And they liked it. And they ordered 6 15-minute episodes. So I had that in my back pocket. And then I went to Ireland and I performed. I went to Montreal and I performed. And this is after I quit Chelsea, all that. And that's kind of when things got spiraled out of control, getting off my meds. And a lot of people get off their meds. I just happened to have it happen in a very public setting. I went on Twitter and I was lashing out at people. And I went to a party at Sarah Silverman's house, and I was kind of not aggressive, but out of character. You know, I was not myself. So people picked up on that, and that's where my friends stepped in, essentially. I mean, I was getting into fights at Starbucks, yelling at people. I got detained by the police officers there. They sent the cops to my house to check on me, all in like a 6-day period. And then it's basically after that, you know, the cops, they got me. My friends stepped in and go, you got to go to the hospital. You know, they talk to doctors and they go, you can't have him be that way. So I went to the hospital and I spent 17 days at the UCLA Medical Center, in the psychiatric ward, which I needed. I mean, looking back on it, I needed that, and I needed to have that kind of safety and supervision, and they put me on different meds, and that was, that was a big ordeal for me. And but since then, I mean, so when I was in there, that's kind of when I came up with the idea for the show. Like after a few days, once I started getting relaxing and getting my head together, I felt like, you know, maybe the show is me getting out of the hospital and showing people that you can make it back and you can reconcile. So I wanted to, you know, even before all this happened, I wanted to reconcile with Chelsea Handler and how I left the show, even though I didn't have an issue with her, but I just didn't like the way I exited the show. It was kind of immature and childish, and I wanted to, you know, reconcile with her regarding that. I wanted to get closer with my sister who lives out here in the Valley, talk about her, have some interaction with my sister. Also, me doing stand-up, showing me the stand-up process, and me trying to get back on TV and doing stand-up, and it coincided with me doing, concluded, or whatever the word is, with me doing Conan O'Brien, which I did. Uh-huh. So I went from the hospital, and I documented in this HBO series, you know, and I didn't feel weird showing that because it was already kind of public on Twitter. People already knew, and I wasn't ashamed of what happened, but I felt that, you know, after it was a compelling story. People say that's a compelling story. You know, you getting out of the hospital, and that's what I started. Yeah. That's when I started seeing that I had support of my friends and support of my family, and so I did the show and we shot it, and I had no idea how it would be received. And it's not like I shot it and go, this is brilliant stuff. I mean, I had fun doing it. Like, they put the cameras on me, and I would do my stand-up, and I'd hit my little points that I had to hit, and I had interaction with my mom, and I had interaction with my sister and some other comedians. And yeah, when I was watching it as they're editing it, and I didn't go, this is great, this is brilliant, this is my masterpiece. I was kind of like, well, I'm not, I hope it looks good. I mean, some of it was good, and then some of it I wasn't sure about. Yeah,
because you don't know how it's going to be received, right?
No, you don't know how it's going to be received. It was also not, you know, it's more, I'm not going to say it's more interesting than funny. I mean, there's funny parts, there's serious parts, there's some sad parts, there's some dramatic parts. It had all that in it in these 6 15-minute episodes. I, as a comedian, of course, I wanted to see, you know, it popping with jokes and comedy, but you know what? I wasn't in that place, and that wasn't my story, and that's at the time, you know, I trusted the director and the editors and the producers, and I let them do their thing. It wasn't like I was in there, put this here, do that, do this, and I wasn't in that frame of mind either, and I didn't have that sense of confidence, and it's not like I've done a million of these shows. It's kind of my first foray into this.
Was it weird watching yourself? I mean, to have someone take all that footage of personal stuff, of made up stuff, of fun stuff, of performing, and then condensing it down. Was it weird watching yourself in that way? Were you surprised about how you came off? It's because it's such a condensed version of you. You know what I mean? Is that weird? Is that a stupid question, by the way?
No. I didn't think it was weird. I mean, I've watched all the episodes a number of times, not like as much as you'd think, but I watched them, and some of it was like, yeah, this is good TV.
Yeah.
And then some are like, this is funny. But I was hard on myself on a couple things. You know, I don't like the way I look, or I don't like the way this could be tighter, this could be funnier. You know, I had little issues like that, but I knew, like when I said I didn't like, you know, everyone goes, I don't like hearing my voice. You know, people say that about themselves. So I know that's something. And then a lot of times people don't like the way they look on camera. It's normal to feel that. So I was able to take those feelings and say, you know what, it is normal to feel like you don't like the way you look on camera. But in terms of like it being an open book, I was okay with it. I didn't talk about everything in my life, but and it wasn't all about me having this breakdown. It was like that was episode 2, and there was callbacks to it, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't really weird. I was more unsure. Like, how is this going to turn out? I'm not sure. And it's like we only had a handful of people looking at it: the editors, the writers, the producers, and HBO. But they didn't give us any notes. They liked it. You know, they would come back. They go, "We like it. Keep doing it."
How many people actually would be on set when you would go out and film, like with your mother? Like, it's pretty tight, right? Pretty
yeah,
small.
we only had maybe like 4 or 5 guys.
Okay.
Real small.
Yeah.
And I liked it that way, of course. Just smaller the better, just less intrusive.
2 cameras or what?
We would have 2 cameras.
And a boom guy and then a producer.
And a boom guy and a producer. The director was one of the camera guys also, And it wasn't like we had big makeup trucks and all that stuff. It was bare bones, which is probably better for comedy.
It's better for you, yeah. It's better for comedy, yeah.
How long would it take to like tape around one episode? Because I'm sure it's just continual.
When we had a schedule, we would shoot a couple times a week, and it'd be like full, not 9 to 5, like 11 to 5, something like that, depending on where we were going. But we would try to get a lot in one day, like go shoot over by UCLA, then we go have lunch, and then it's okay, now we're meeting in the Valley, and we're doing this thing at the, in an acting school, and another one is like, all right, we're meeting at the office. We're doing some conversation stuff at the office, and then we're going to do this improv school. So it was, the schedule wasn't consistent, but we did have a schedule and an outline. But it wouldn't be like 12, 14-hour days. It wasn't something like that. It was just, it was a lot of stuff. It would be like a lot of times at night. We have, cameras following me at night, going to the Comedy Store. We would do that, or we'd have the cameras at me doing one of these shows, these little hipster shows or what have you. Then a lot of it was just getting footage from things I had already done, clips from Chelsea, clips from The Hangover. There was a lot of that too, things, getting clearance on that, which wasn't my department. So, but, it was, I didn't mind the shooting process because it was kind of like me doing my own thing. I had to hit the beats. There's certain points I had to hit if we were doing a fantasy sketch, for example. So I had to hit these little beats that would kind of tie the episodes together.
Do you get more uncomfortable if you have to like doing like the burn where it's live or in front of a live audience, or more uncomfortable or more comfortable, let's ask it that way, when you're not in front of an audience and you're just kind of doing it for camera? You know what I mean?
Yeah. When I did the burn, which was last week we shot it, it was kind of a last minute thing. I was filling in for somebody. I'd been doing the audience warm up there. It was 6 episodes, and I did the test show, so I'd already done.
Oh, they do it here?
Yeah, the burn. Yeah, they
I
shot it
know
out here in LA, and I did one of the test shows, so I'd already been up on the panel doing it. We had a small audience, and I did one of the test shows. But then after that, I did the audience warm up each week, and I knew I'm friends with the writers and friends with the staff. You go there, you eat with them, and all that stuff, and they had wanted to get me on the show. I knew that Brody, we want to get you on. I knew that they wanted to get me on. But I was okay, after the second week or third week, I figured I'm not going to get on. And it was okay. I mean, it's all right. I was fine with not being on the show. I mean, they have big comedians on there, Bobby Lee, Ralphie May, Mark Maron, Russell Peters, Marilyn Rice Cub, Jim Norton. So it was like, if I was going to, I didn't say that I don't belong with those folks, but that's the caliber they were going for. And if I wasn't in that, that's fine. I'm here to, I got hired to do warm up. So, but every time I'd come in there, the guys go, oh, Brody, we want to get you on the show. But then, like I said, by like the 3rd or 4th episode, I was kind of like, I guess it's not going to happen, but I'll keep doing warm up. And then the final day, I came in there, it was a Saturday. I walked in on the lot. I got there about 2 hours before the audience comes in, and they said, so and so fell out. Do you want to be on the? Can you be on the show? Do you want to be on the show? And I said, yeah. I said, I'll do it. So basically, it was okay. You're in. And I go, all right. And he says, the writers want to write jokes for you. They know your voice. They know just from doing warm up, and they knew me from stand up and all that. And I was a little nervous, but not bad. I mean, I've done Chelsea Lately a bunch. I've had to step up into situations and, be funny or be myself in front of a camera, in front of an audience. And I've seen all the shows, so I was there. But again, yeah, you don't know until you get up there. But I had the support of all the staff, and they're saying, Brody, just be yourself. Here's, you have your notes. They wrote some jokes for me. I mixed in my own jokes, and I just kind of like stepped up and did it. And yeah, there was a live audience there, and they got me. They're I just turned it on. I had no choice but to not, turn it on.
Yeah.
When I'm doing stuff without an audience, I kind of have to just trust and believe that people think I'm funny. If you ask me, Brody, do you think you're funny? I don't know. But I know I'm funny because I've done enough things to where I couldn't have done those if I wasn't funny, and I wouldn't be asked to do other things. And I have, comedians telling me that I'm funny, and I've had, through Twitter or through Facebook or whatever, people tell me that I'm funny. So I know I'm funny. Do I feel funny? That's the other thing. And do I always believe that I'm funny? I'm not sure. I also feel like people don't always get me at first. It's hard to like categorize me. I'm kind of different. But just talking and being myself and doing audience warm up for all these years, I know that I'm at least amusing.
Gamefly.com offers over 8,000 video games. It sends you the disc in the mail, and when you're done with it, you just send it back. There's no late fees, no hassles, with access to all new releases. It'll work on anything, your PlayStation, your Wii, your Xbox, even your PC. And for our listeners, if they go to www.gamefly.com/BEAST, they will get a free 15-day 2-disc trial.
Brody, we were talking that coffee before. That we've been here 14 years, 15 years, 20 years. Felicia, how many stars did you move here with? How many people were going to be fucking stars when you first got here? How many people got more things than you the first year they were here?
Oh, please. I came out here. I came from Colorado. I came out here. I had met as an open micer, Roseanne Barr, she was an open micer. I came out here. I couldn't get into the Comedy Store because I wasn't 21. I had to wait like a year. She came out one night, got on the original room. It got immediately passed. Got on the main room that same night. Got the Tonight Show. Off the Tonight Show, she got her show, and it was like, wow. You know, when you see people have that quick of a, you know, meteoric rise, it's hard because you wish them so much luck, but you're like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Why am I here so much longer, scraping along? But then when you do something for 10, 15, 20 years, you know, people that have that meteoric rise, you know, it comes down too, and you're still hanging out with the same people on the other side. You know what I mean? Maybe some of them have a nicer house. You know what I mean? Don't have credit card problems. You know what I mean?
It's so funny how you move here with people, and I moved here with stars. You know, people who were touted as stars. They went to Montreal right away. And some of these people are not here no longer. They just packed up and left. And I always say that, you know, nothing is really luck. We put the time here. We're here. We're away from our families. We don't have a normal life. We don't have a normal job. I think after 15 years, something's going to happen here if you put your heart into this. How many people fucking leave before the miracle happens?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a miracle. It's a miracle, bro. One day we're sleeping on the couch, and the next minute you got a house and a butler and a cleaning lady and fucking 2 dogs, and, you know, you're back to the talking heads. You know, how did I get here?
Yeah.
It's a fucking miracle. What we do is a fucking miracle. We don't even see it. It just happens. But just the point that we're still here. You don't have to be surprised by the good fortune you have, or either do you, or either do I. We're still here. I moved here with people that got 8 spots a week, and they would brag outside the Comedy Store on how they were APA, and they were CAA, and, you know, they had the headshot with CAA on the bottom.
Yeah.
Those guys are gone.
Yeah.
And we're still here. I mean, we're still here battling, and I don't regret a fucking minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so we don't get lucky. We really earn this shit. We fucking earn our stripes because we're here. We're sacrificing other things. We don't go to weddings. We don't go to our family functions that people went to high school with. We're here, bro. We pay the price. And success is whatever you think success is. For me, it was always just being kind of happy, paying my bills. I didn't want just to be in the store, just to be a regular at the store. We know where we came from. You were in Seattle with me when I was fucking up there.
Yeah.
And now we're at the store. The store isn't the fucking Tuscaloosa Comedy Club in some fucking little suburb in a mall, in a strip mall. This is the store. People kill to perform in the store. When you first think of comedy, your ultimate goal is I can't wait to go to the fucking store.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Improv or the Laugh Factory. You do great in Michigan at, you know, Mark Ridley's. It's a beautiful club.
I remember the day I got to go to La Jolla, and I was living in Culver City in some shithole, rat-infested shithole with no kitchen. And I got La Jolla, and I remember I jumped up and down on my bed. I was so fucking excited. I was like 22 years old. I was like, no fucking way, you know? I was thinking actually this morning, I was thinking when I was showering, like, you know, when you are just going through your everyday life, it gets fucking overwhelming where you're like, I haven't really done this much this month. But then I thought, a year after you do something, if you were to write down everything you did in that year and you had it on a list, you'd be so fucking impressed with yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I was thinking that today, like, oh, you know, okay, so I did the TV thing a week and a half ago. Now I have nothing, and I'm just being a mom. You know, I love being a mom. I fucking have nothing. But then it's like, wow, a year ago I was like, literally, if next year I don't get any TV, that's it. I'm going to quit. You know, and that's what I thought. You just always have to think, what have I done in the past year or 2 years? You know, like my return to comedy now is going on 4 years. You know, if I would have said when I first went to my first open mic at the Canoga Bowl, if I would have said it's going to take 4 years, but after 4 years, I'm going to do 3 TV shows in a 2-month or 3-month period, I would have been like, that sounds pretty good. But then 2.5 years into not getting it, and you just keep working, and now I'm headlining, and now my fucking kids and the ex is on me, and I'm not helping them with their homework, and I got to do the website, and now I got to do all of this. It overwhelms you.
Yeah.
You know, that's
how I feel.
Yeah, it gets overwhelming. But then, like, I'm like, sometimes I have this mechanical exercise of, okay, but I did this and I did this, and wow, we did over 100 hours of internet content, Joey and I, while the whole time I'm fucking up with my kids or going to the grocery store 150,000 fucking times, which I hate. You know what I mean? But I feel like sometimes it's just a mechanical thing, like, must get up, put feet on ground, think about, you know what I mean?
This does.
Yeah.
I almost had a nervous breakdown in this town. I was very close. After the longest yard.
Mm-hmm.
That was the deepest I went in with my cocaine addiction, after the longest yard. So I shot the longest yard in 94. It got released in May of 95. From October of 95 to November of 2005, I'm sorry. From October 2005 to November of 2007. Brody, it was 2 long years. I was doing 2 grams of blow a fucking night. Mm-hmm. Plus antidepressants, plus reefer, plus Vicodins, whatever I get my hands on. And it ended with heroin for a summer, which nobody knew about because I was snorting it. Nobody knew. Nobody fucking knew. And it wasn't the addiction. I was in a dark place. And it ended with me going after Jeff Valdez at the Comedy Store. I had to go home that day and go, what the fuck? This is out of my realm here. I'm going after somebody in public. That's not my realm.
Right.
And I knew that something was the matter. I've never discussed this. I knew something was the matter. You know, I usually finish shit. I'm not going to go after somebody, you know, in public in front of 200 people. I said some pretty heavy things, and I went after him pretty heavy in front of his wife and his attorney. I didn't give a fuck, because that's my state of mind once we get down like that. But I think back at that time in my life, I didn't go to a hospital because I think people were scared to put me in their car. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, people were scared. I don't have friends that, like in Jersey, they would have fucking tied a neck around. They would have tied a bag like the Colombians do and tie a thing and handcuff you. But I think here people were scared, including my wife. Yeah. And I saw it, and thank God I got off that blow. Thank God I got off the antidepressants first. See, I got off the antidepressants like in September. Once I was doing the antidepressants with the heroin, that was not going anywhere. That just got worse and worse and worse. And the thoughts I were getting were not suicidal. They were taking motherfuckers out. I was ready to go to Paramount and start taking people out because our expectations. It was my expectations. And, you know, I never knew I was going through. Till this year, I bumped into Freddie Lockhart. And he told me what he went through after Frank. The show, Frank.
Yeah, Frank. I did audience warm-up there, too.
And I thought that, and he thought the same thing I thought. He believed what the people told you on the set. He believed because we know we're funny. Let's cut the shit. But when we shoot a TV show and we get there, they really blow smoke up our ass. After the 3rd take, they're still giggling. Really? I'm not that fucking funny. And when that goes into your psyche, I've seen, you know, we can't handle it. And we're fucking comedians. We can't handle it. Could you imagine somebody who's a comedic actor who went to the Groundlings for a year? And that's it. Went to the Groundlings and Improv Olympic and considered the advanced improv technique the long way, whatever the fuck they call it, and then did that for 6 years. Because you know what? I seen it happen. I seen kids come up here and they'll eat you alive because this eats you alive. If you let this eat you alive, I'm not. Hey, dog, we all have it. We're comics. We were born to torture ourselves. How many people wake up one day and go, you know what? I'm not going to dance no more. I'm sorry, I'm saying your business. I'm not going to sell coke no more or steal. A great life to have, because at least every 2 years you get put in a prison. You don't have to pay rent for 2 years. You know, you were playing baseball. You were doing the shows with us in Seattle. What makes you want to dive into this fucking hellhole, live in your car, and, you know, have to be accustomed to get used to people saying no to us? What other job is that? Tell me. Telemarketing, maybe, but you still got a base salary. You still got $8 an hour. Do you get anything from doing comedy, sitting around all day? No. This is stressful, my friend. And remember one thing, on the 1st of every month, there's no Louis C.K. and there's no Anzi Azari. We're all in the same boat because we all got to start from scratch. That's the way I look. On the 1st of every month, every comedian is equal because we all got to start from scratch. I know every morning when I wake up, 2 things are going to happen. Either I'm going to have a fucking great day or I'm going to hit the lottery. Today's the day. That's why when I wake up at 5, I'm in a great mood, because today's the day. Or today could be the worst day of my life. I'm going to make that call. I'm 50 in February. I got maybe 20 years left without the cigarettes and the old residue of the blow and eating rotten pussy. So, you know, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. That's the choices we have to make. But as comedians, listen to the career we've chosen. We chose a career of 10 years of people saying no to us. Right or wrong? It's about 10 years.
No, yeah,
You need
I
a
see what
web
you're
page, you
saying,
need a
yeah.
headshot. No. Can't feature, can't go headline. Not ready yet. Don't have enough credits. And then, a Chinese girl moves to town, does 3 minutes at the Comedy Store, and she's on fucking The Tonight Show.
That's okay, though.
Yeah. I understand it's okay, but the first time you fucking see it, it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay. The first time me and you were at the store, we started together in Seattle, and the first time I see fucking Brody after 6 years of doing comedy on The Tonight Show, inside, it's going to fuck with you a little bit. People like you and I were a little stronger. We go, you know what? God bless that motherfucker. You know what? For me, if Felicia could do it, that means I got a shot.
No,
at this shit.
it does eat away at you a little bit. Even if you're a positive person and you want everything to go well, it does eat away at your self-esteem. There's no way it can't, Like for me, it was like, why did Sarah Silverman do great things and I didn't? Well, because I made poor choices and chose to go on the road and whore my comedy out and ruin it to pay for my lifestyle. Did I just say that out loud?
Yeah, I feel that I can't compare myself to others. It's hard.
You never
No,
can.
you can't.
We have our own path.
Yeah.
I used to do this. Hey, listen, we moved here with Josh Wolf. Mm-hmm. Kid couldn't get a spot at the store. Kid went into the store and Mitzi Shaw said, "You want to be a doorman?"
Yeah, he does have the stench of doorman.
Do you know what he felt like? You know how bad he felt when he went and tried out as a regular? And she told him, "You're pretty funny, but you're going to be a doorman." And here I am, a regular. You're a regular. God knows who else was a regular. He couldn't get a manager. He couldn't do nothing. One day, his wife leaves him with the kid. He writes about it, does a one-man show on a Monday night, and by Tuesday, he was a new man. He had a deal on the table 3 days later for $500,000 or something. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, it sucked the fucking air out of me. We were together in Seattle, were we not? Were we not hanging out together in Seattle? Sucks the air out of you. Sucked the air out of me for 90 days at least. I'm big enough to say it. But you got two options. You get caught up in that.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could say, they're going to do what they're going to do. Brody's going to do what he's going to do. Felicia's going to do what they're going to do. Terry's going to do what she's going to do. And guess what, motherfuckers? I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about what Brody's doing with Felicia. You know what? I got to get on stage. Don Herrera made a great fucking thing when I did his podcast. He goes, I come from the old basketball school. If you ain't practicing, somebody else will. Somebody else is.
Yeah.
So at night, you're thinking to yourself, holy fuck, I better get on stage because somebody else is on stage.
Yeah, getting better probably.
Getting better. Hey, what's that thing in Apocalypse Now? What that Martin Sheen says in the hotel when he's tripping on the acid, here I am sitting here, what Charlie's getting stronger in the motherfucking bush.
But some nights you got to take time off. You got to take...
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. But...
Well, I was telling Joey this. It's like, you only have so much energy. If you're doing 3-4 podcasts a week, Joey,
it's the law of diminishing
and you're
returns.
beating yourself up because you're like, fuck, I'm too tired tonight to go out. Well, dude, you're fucking putting a lot of energy. You only have so much energy. You have to learn how to give and take from yourself. If you're going through a period where, you're doing that, understand that the other stuff's going to suffer. But you have to do that. You have to do that. It's like what Joey's saying, when you are doing comedy and other people are getting things, and then you're in that group where like, why did that fucking person get that?
And they do it.
I was doing that fucking 3 years ago, and I went on to, like, fuck. That's why I quit comedy in the first place, because it was just like, it was eating me up, and I didn't like the person I was becoming because of it. And then now that I'm back at it, it's like such a revelation because it's
fresh.
It's all fresh.
Again.
I don't beat myself over, should I be putting my energy into having a real life, like a real straight job? Because now it's like, you know what? I'm old fucking lady now, and I am just going to make people laugh. That's just going to be my life purpose. Maybe not a lot of people. Maybe I'm not the greatest, but that's what I do. If that's the worst thing I'm fucking doing, how awesome is that? But you don't understand that until you've been through the whole thing. I mean, do you feel that way now after having been through the whole thing? Like you're not in competition with anybody else, right?
No, but myself.
Yeah.
I got into comedy. I kind of backed into it. Joey said I played baseball. I wanted to be a baseball player, and I felt like that. I wanted to give that my best shot. And when I was playing baseball, people said, "Hey, Brody, you're funny. Why don't you? You should try some comedy or try an acting class." And I liked the attention. I knew that I was kind of funny, but I backed into the comedy. It wasn't like, oh, I want to be on the Tonight Show. I studied all these comedy albums. I'm a student of comedy. I'm not a student of comedy. I'm a student of myself, I suppose, or working smart, or I had that baseball approach. So when I got into comedy, it was kind of just, I'm going to jump into it. I went up to Seattle, jumped into these open mics, and just see where it would take me. And I knew, like, after a couple years that it was going to take 6 years for me to find my voice and to get comfortable with that. And then Joey said, Brody, you got to go to New York. They're going to love you out in New York. And I always wanted to go to New York. So I went to New York from 97 to 2000. I did shows there in the Lower East Side. I started seeing stand-up comedy in the clubs and got past at a couple clubs. And then after 6 years, I felt like, okay, I've got a marketable skill. I can get on TV. My friends are. Then I moved to LA and I got Premium Blend. I got the Craig Kilborn Show. And then I went right into audience warm-up. And that's where it kind of maybe, I'm not going to say threw me off the track, but kind of put me into that audience warm-up guy mode where...
Were you not enjoying it, or did you have regret that you kind of went that way, or...
I mean, looking back on it, I feel like spending all that time doing audience warm-up might have stifled my stand-up or stifled that business guy in me, because I was getting paid okay money, enough, a single guy to live in LA, and got paid okay money. I would work in the afternoons. I get to meet all these celebrities or sports guys at the Best Damn Sports Show. I knew everybody at Fox. I'd pick up other warm-up gigs. I did the Man Show with Joe Rogan. Doug Stanhope, audience warm up there, and then I would do comedy at night, 3-4 nights a week maybe. But I had to watch my energy levels. I mean, but I was getting mic time in the afternoon. It was like I'm on the mic, I get to do some jokes, I get to do interaction, and I did that for all those years. And then when I stopped doing that, that's when I started feeling a little more pressure. Maybe the last couple 3 years, about, wow, I got to do all this on my own, and I'm the guy they're there to see now, and I've got to build up material, and it's hard.
It's overwhelming.
And
you have to put it all in each place in your mind. Like, you have to, everything's good and that's why I tell you, man, I have to go to the Y some days. Like, some days I warm up on the bicycle, and when I'm on that bicycle, that's when all my ideas come to me and everything gets put into perspective. I could see, it's like when Felicia sucks a dick. While you're sucking, you got to remember to get carrots when you're at Gelson's. You know what I'm saying?
I never remember to get carrots when I'm sucking dick.
Yeah, so, like, ooh, I gotta get carrots for the soup next week. It's so weird how working out has really put shit in perspective for me as a comic, because you got all these dead hours sometimes. And it's good just for your mind. Smoking pot is one thing, that's recreation. But just really, fucking getting into yourself with an iPod on or whatever, the earphones or the Walkman, whatever the fuck it is. Now I get confused. But it's...
yeah,
it's
do you exercise a lot?
That's what he's saying.
Well, I used to exercise more.
Yeah.
I was more into weights, and I was going to do the gym thing. I'd do the jump roping thing. I would do all the push-ups. But the last year or so, it's been pretty much walking, hiking, that sort of thing. I just haven't had that push or that desire, and it could be the meds. It could be, I think a lot of it has to do with the medication, just not giving me that energy. And then the medication, and now with, like I said, I'm going through some depression, and it's not like something I can just snap out of. You can't just say, okay, today I'm going to snap out of it, and I'll be Mr. Happy, Mr. Energy. You find little windows where you have it. Like right now doing this podcast, I feel pretty good. I feel all right. I feel good. And I'll probably feel good after, but I'll probably want to go home and take a nap. That's kind of where I'm at, even though I slept good tonight or last night. I have a swim lesson at 6 to 7. Then I see my therapist from 7 to 8 over there. And then tonight, I don't have a spot, but I have 2 spots tomorrow. It's just, it's hard. And then when I think about, the overwhelming stuff, that's not even just comedy overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed by life issues. And that's where I'm having my problems. Like, I could never imagine me having I can't picture myself owning a house or having a house and having a podcast studio in it. I'm just not at that point right now. And that sucks that I don't have that. I'm able to see that. I know maybe I'm chipping away at it. I did the Burn last night. Maybe that will, I'm doing Chelsea next week. I feel like
it's baby steps, bro.
They're baby steps.
You'll come to me and go, you know what, bro? I've seen this house. It's got a fucking garage. I think I'm gonna go rent it and fucking put a podcast studio. And whether it's 3 years from now or a year from now, it's gonna happen.
Well, when I did, you done Little Esther's podcast, right?
Yeah.
And they just do it in a room. Joey does his in a room. Anything is possible. Yeah, you don't have to have some big, production.
But I have to say to myself, do I have that fire to push me for it? And I to be honest, I don't have that fire. I don't have that fire. I did. I had that fire to be the best me I could be, and when I was doing warm up, I did I do the best job I can. When I do my stand up, whether it's like 15 minutes to a half hour, I got it. But if you ask me to go do an hour on the road, I'm not there yet. 45 minutes I can do. An hour and believing in myself and doing a podcast, updating it, having a website, selling T-shirts. And then on top of that, regular life, I got to pay bills. I got to find a girlfriend. I got to find a wife one day. I don't have to, but I'd like to. And I'm having problems with that. And it's hard. I think part of it is the depression. Part of it is like just real life issues. Part of it is maybe me getting used to it. Like maybe I'm a slow learner. I don't know. Maybe
you're thinking too much.
Maybe I'm thinking too much.
So the thing that scares us the most, the worst thing for a man is to think. That's what happened to me on Monday. Because I hugged my wife and I couldn't put my arms around her.
Oh, I was wondering what happened.
Coming. That baby's coming. And I had nervous, I have them. We all have them. We're normal. We're humans. It's supposed to happen, Sometimes, man, when I let my mind think a little too much, and I used that story in New York 3 months ago when I went on the ledge to smoke one night on my balcony. And I looked over and I threw the joint, and I locked the door and I went in. Well, the next time I went out there, I didn't look down. And I ended up smoking 2 joints and talking on the phone out there. And I came in and I go, wow, at 49 years old, I just learned the biggest lesson in life. You don't have to look before you jump sometimes. Don't fucking even look. Why are you looking? Just go in there and, like I say, pull a chair in the lion's mouth, sit there and scratch your fucking cock, because that's all you can do. If I start thinking, what happened to my set? That's why I tell people I love it. I love that half minute before you go on stage. That is crisis minute. That last 30 seconds before you go on stage, most people will end up in the hospital from those. I've seen how many people I've seen people part in 30 years of comedy. That feeling, that initial when you're going up there, and hey, I don't know about you guys, I forget everything the 30 seconds before I go on stage.
Right.
Even the joke I wrote that you said was brilliant, I forget it 30 seconds before you go up there.
The one I repeated 23 times.
Yeah, your world ends. That 30 seconds, I would love to Harvard to come one time and wire me and see what really goes on in your body. You get the sudden urge to pee. I don't know what the fuck it is. 30 seconds before I go on stage, my bladder's about to bust, but I know I can't make it back, and I'm a fat fuck. If I run, I'm going to have to stop it there and catch my breath. But by the time you get up there, the energy's flowing. For some reason, the urine goes right back into your bladder. You can feel it in your fucking throat.
Oh, how about when I was at the Ice House that time? I knew I was not feeling well when I went to the Ice House with Joey, and I was on stage fucking killing it, Brody. And I'll never brag about my comedy, but I was killing it. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna throw up. Had to leave the stage.
Told you.
I knew I was gonna throw up.
Were you physically not feeling well?
Yeah, I just had a stomach ache, but I knew I was gonna throw up. But I was like, gotta get on that stage in the middle of my act. I'm like, I gotta go. And I was sitting there barfing. I was throwing up so much at the Ice House. Joey, the second time I started throwing up, came over to me and he's like, dog, you got to pull it together, dog.
Open your mouth and go back in there. There's a cock to suck.
He was gentle about it, but he was like, come on now.
No, you have to, because we all have it. And sometimes you just, hey, listen, either you have that inner voice that says, get the fuck up, you worthless piece of shit. Because my inner voice is Captain Insecurity. He's the fuck Don Rickles. Don Rickles, my insecurity man, will take Don Rickles, chew him up, and spit him the fuck out. And all of our, the guy that's inside that tells you, but that guy is also the toughest guy in the world when he goes, listen, get up, because you're a piece of shit. You're always going to be a piece of shit. You got nothing to lose. You're a piece of shit. You know it. What do they care? Bomb. And he talks you into it. Bomb. What? And next thing you're like, right before, fuck you. And you go up there and you kill it. You know, my fucking captain in security is the worst. I don't know how yours is. I know you have them around a lot.
Mine is like a 12-year-old girl that was fingered by her father's friends as someone threw quarters at her head, and that never happened to me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how my inner voice is like
Is
fucked.
lethal. My inner voice is lethal.
I mean, I feel comfortable doing the, you know, I'm good at the hipster rooms, the alternative rooms. I'm good at those. I don't get nervous. I get up there and I do. I may get nervous. I may get excited actually a little bit, but I get nervous. You know, like Laugh Factory or your Comedy Store when it's packed in there. It's like I get anxiety and I feel like they don't know me. I got to give them these jokes. I got to act them out. I got to connect with them. I got to be like physical, and it's like that's not my shtick.
And pretend like nothing's going on at the same
Right,
time.
nothing's going on.
Well, I'm able to, but I'm able to decompartmentalize. Is that the word? I'm able to get up there and, you know, focus. I can focus on the comedy and block things out. Like when I get up there, I'm actually feeling pretty good. But I get psyched out, like if I walk into the Laugh Factory and I see it's packed, it's a Friday night or a Saturday night, and if I was scheduled to go on, you know, at 11 o'clock, I'd be like, it's not going to go well. They're not going to be into me. But if I go do one of these hip rooms like Largo or UCB or, you know, one of these little hipster alternative bars or whatever, I'm like I'm in my comfort zone. So same thing with going on the road. I feel like, if I went on the road and I had to go do an improv in Miami, that would like terrify me. I'm saying that, I'm being honest. Like I'd be, you know, if I had to go headline, like Brody, you're a headliner. If that ever happened for that,
But you know you could do it deep down inside you.
I don't know. I mean, I would have to probably...
I know you could do it. I know you'd be fine. Funny thing, Brody, you know what, man? And you got to remember this, the calling of your people, of the Jews, has always been double checking themselves. Just something. I grew up with a great Jewish family. This kid was an all-state wrestler. He was an honor student. I mean, went to fucking Harvard. And when I'd be alone with him, the things that would come out of his mouth were like, are you fucking serious? He once told me he wished he could switch my life with mine. I go, at 17, I got no mother, no father. You got parents, they own a fucking hat company in Manhattan. Your mother owns a mint company. You're fucking Jewish all the way to Israel. His name was Lee Argish. You know, the kid was a genius. And when I was alone with him, the things he would say to me were outrageous. And I asked him, how do you live your fucking life with these thoughts in your head? But, you know, you have a great career, Brody. And you're a great guy, and good things are going to happen. Right now, you just hit a little rough spot. That's it. Everybody hits a little bump in their life on a personal level in your mind. And just a couple months. Just know that you have a couple months, and then go off the meds little by little. You know, talk to your people. Keep in touch with them. I see great things for you. But for you, your success is going to come when you beat that fucking mind of yours like me. Once I beat that motherfucker, there ain't no stopping us, Brody. That's how I feel.
Do you think the meds are, they're I mean, they could be...
I'm not a doctor, Brody, but I hear good and bad. And I know for me, they didn't work. I knew something was wrong. When I went to prison, they put me on lithium, you know. You do know that. I'm not here to bullshit you. I was on fucking lithium. Mm-hmm. Because my mind, I was young. At 20, I was getting bleeding ulcers. My stomach, you know, I used to sit there and go, what am I going to do about my life, my career? I would look at a paper and see who had the most help wanted signs. And that's what I would pick that week. Well, this week I'm going to be a truck driver because they had 19 jobs, you know. And when I went to prison, my mind was the worst enemy I had. They put me on lithium, and when I was in there, I didn't like it. It rose my blood pressure or something. And then when I got out, you know, the blow, I mean, 30 years of blow, I don't know what it could do to your mind, but in 2006, when I was going through my thing, I went to a doctor, and I never went to talk to a real psychiatrist. I talked to a mental health specialist at SAG, and he goes, try these, and then he went on vacation. And
right.
That's why I was doing them. I was eating them, and he said, call me, but he was on vacation. And you know, when you call SAG and get an assistant or whatever, they weren't returning my calls. And the final thing was, I tell this story all the time, we laugh. I gave it to the biggest junkie I know. I called him up and I go, you doing blow tonight? He goes, yeah. He'll come over and take 2 of these. They're come down pills. What are they, dog? They're the new thing. I don't know what the name of it is. And the next day he called me and he was like, whatever you gave me last night was fucking evil. This is from a kid that would always have 15 Valiums in his pocket.
Right.
He could eat 15 Valiums in a night. And if those things, if they make you feel worse than eating Valium, I always like Valium. If they make you, but the next day Valiums make you feel shitty. Whatever this doctor gave me is terrible. And I stopped. And then I found out through the grapevine that SAG, they're very loose with their pills. You know, they're very quick. You know, if you're a comedian or something, you go in there and go, hey, I'm having problems sleeping. They'll give you fucking 10 milligram Valiums. And that's good and bad. That's good and bad.
Valiums are very addictive.
Very addictive. And if you can't, Ambion's even worse, Ambien. And if you can't sleep, before I give you anything, I'm going to tell you, dog, go exercise for 30 days. I know when I go to the Y for an hour, I ride the bike for 20, I run for 20, and I hit the bag for 20. I'm at 10:30, I can't keep my fucking eyes open. You know, so I know that for a fact. Just, you know, you have the answers to yourself. You know, it's 2013. You know, you have great insight into what you can and can't do. That's part of the battle. You know, our biggest thing when we get here, like I told Felicia when Josh Wolf was on the interview, that when I first got here, I didn't know what a night off was. I didn't even know what television was. I didn't watch television from 1990 to 2000. I knew NYPD Blue because they put me on it, but I didn't know what television was. I'm a fucking comic. The fuck you talking about? I don't watch TV at night. I don't have time for that shit. You know, when you first moved here, how many times did you go? Did you have a night off when you first moved here? You did 2 sets a night. You looked at your notebook and said, damn, I did 42 sets in the month of January. 42, you know? And yeah, I know about free time and stuff, but when you get here, you're trying to make a name for yourself. You know, you're trying to get up there and do your thing. You got to be aggressive, and the whole secret is sometimes I think not being caught up. But that's easier said than done.
Well, that's so easy.
That's easy. Anybody can tell you, oh, don't get caught up. Took me fucking 11 or 12 years to learn that, and I still have issues. So don't beat yourself up, Brody. You're on the right fucking path to something good, bro. And you're gonna have good and bad days. We all do. But you're on the path. Just keep it together. If you have a problem, you got a bunch of people you can call.
Well, it sounds like you have such an amazing group of people around you.
They love them. They love them. Everybody's looking out. And
I've got a really good support group, and I mean, I don't want to be a downer. I want to be up. I want to be happy. I want to push it. I want to laugh, positive energy, enjoy it, all that stuff. I want to be that guy, and I was that guy, and I am that guy. It's there. It's just it's dormant right now, or it's. But
he's in you. That's all I want to hear. That motherfucker's in your stomach.
Yeah.
He's just a little confused right now. He's taking a nap. He's like Winkle. Didn't Winkle go in the forest and take a nap for 20 years?
Yeah.
Rip Van Winkle.
But bro, I mean, I can't tell you.
I mean, you talk about you don't watch TV. I don't watch TV right now. I don't watch any of that stuff. People talk about TV, DVR, websites. I'm not doing any of that.
Brody, even in your fucking worst state, when I see you, you bring a smile to my face. And you do that to everybody.
I was thinking the other day, like compared to a lot of my girlfriends, I'm the most well-read, and I don't mean that in I don't mean that in a braggy way because they all went to college. But because I'm a comedian, I have to have a little piece of information from every little part of society and from the news and from what's going on television and what's going on the internet. I'm a sieve, you know what I mean? Getting all that information. And then when I'm the filter putting it out, all those little pieces of information are still sticking around in my head. And those are the little pieces of information that give me doubt, you know what I mean? That make me think, wow, I'm not doing enough because I saw on CNN that some woman who's 23 is changing the world, and all I'm doing, you know what I mean? Those are the little pieces of information that what we do is collect. It just sits there. It's like you keep getting cards, but you're not putting enough down, you know?
Yeah, I see that. It's like, and that's another thing, like with this information society, you know, the society we're in now with all the news and Twitter and Facebook and the websites and the podcasts and the movies and the billboards. It's like sensory overload for me. It
is sensory overload, I think, for a lot of people, Brody. Yeah.
And then social media. That fucking, you know, you get on social media and say hello. Next thing you're on there for 3 hours, you know, talking to your fucking girlfriend from the 4th grade, you know. It's social media has made this different. I mean, We used to have an hour to do more things. Now we're an hour on social media a day.
Yeah.
We don't get paid for it now.
More
We're just
than
on
an
there.
hour.
More
It's like
than
2
that.
hours.
Or even with my kids, and I don't even overschedule my kids that much. They just go to school, they do music, that's it. They don't get home sometimes till 9 o'clock at night with full of activities, and all this information going in their head. And then they want to play video games late at night and all that information. And then they know every song that's ever on every radio station and all that information, like they're overloaded. People are overloaded. What about 500 years ago when we all lived in a small little village? You know what I mean? How much overload was there then? There wasn't.
We read a newspaper. And what was in that newspaper? We believed, and that was it. That was the knowledge we got for the day. We basically got 6 pages of news, 3 pages of local news. And if it didn't make the fucking company by 11, we didn't know it. So if you got shot at 2 in the morning, I had to wait a whole other day to read about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or it came out in the afternoon paper. It's fucking weird. Now, like this, Lindsay Lohan gets into a car accident at 11:30.
Why do I
You
know that?
about it
Why
at
do I
12 o'clock.
fucking know
I don't want
that?
to know that. I don't want to know that. But, bro, it's... and that's where you have to decide whether to change the switch.
Yeah.
I don't watch the news in the morning because you're going to watch the news and tell you what, a teacher molested another student, 3 people died last night, I don't want that going into my mind in the morning. I really don't. I put on the news just to see where there's traffic, even though if I'm not going nowhere. So my wife, but I don't like watching the news in the morning. Anything but the fucking news. I don't need that.
It can be depressing.
It really is.
Yeah.
You're going to start your day off. Listen, they found the baby in a dumpster burnt on fire. I don't need to fucking know about that.
Yeah, meanwhile,
That's
I'm eating oatmeal with my kids, watching that story.
you don't
Like
need that
that's,
shit.
We're surrounded by so many impressions, false impressions of how we're supposed to be, and so many stories of negativity. Like, how the fuck isn't everyone having a private corner somewhere every day crying? My best friend cries all the time. All the time. And at first I was like, pull it together, you fucking pussy. But now I'm all like, man, there's some shit to cry about. You know what I mean? And we're lucky. We're lucky white people. And we're fucking the luckiest people on the planet. We are the luckiest fucking people.
I mean, I've been having crying spells, not necessarily by myself, but when I'm around people that are support, that are on the same page with me. My sadness has been that I don't like the way I'm feeling. It's not necessarily I cry about, this is a depressing world. I cry like I want to get better, and it's hard. That's where it's like I know I could be strong. I've done it before. I didn't used to. I wouldn't be stressed out about the news or Facebook, or I was doing Facebook. I still do Twitter. I was doing my website. I was blogging. I was posting comments on people's sites. I was exercising. I was constantly doing all that. So when my sadness has been, I guess, depression-based sadness. Not overwhelmed. I can't handle this sadness.
Is that just based on like a chemical imbalance? Or?
I think so, and I think. Yeah, I mean, it could be the meds, it could be a chemical imbalance, and my world was shook pretty hard. Going to a hospital. When you're 41, never had. It's not like I had problems when, I had normal kid problems probably when I was in high school and college. I was a little off always, but not to the point where I needed medication or I needed therapy.
When did it start? At what age did you kind of did you understand that maybe you were going to have these problems?
Well, I mean, when I moved to Seattle, I was hard on myself because I was worried about what people thought of me and what I thought about myself, and that would make me depressed. I wasn't depressed like just I'm depressed to be depressed. I can't explain it. I was more like depressed from putting all this energy into worried about what I look, or putting this energy into comedy or what have you, and because of that, I was a little stressed, but it was more obsessive about myself, which could be a good thing. So I actually went on meds in Seattle for a few years, and it kind of evened me out a little bit, took the edge off. But I still it didn't change me. I still it just didn't stress me out as much. Still doing the same stuff, but didn't stress me out. Then when I went to New York, I wasn't on medication, really. I was pretty much not on an antidepressant. I took Ritalin for a month maybe. But I was still in my head, but I didn't really need meds or anything. And then when I moved back to LA in 2000, I started taking an antidepressant. Again, the same thing. I was like, told my doctor, I said, I'm like too much in my head a little bit. And he said, try this Celexa, which is an antidepressant. I took that and it made me feel better. And then I switched to Lexapro, which is a newer version and less side effects. And I was on Lexapro like 5 years, and I wasn't speaking to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, nothing like that. I felt good. I was working. So when I went off the Lexapro and I had my episode, I had no idea I never thought I would go to a hospital. Never in a million years. I never thought what I'm going through now I'd be going through. This dark place that I'm in.
Why did you go off of them in the first place?
Because I was feeling good, and I kind of wanted to be able to drink a little bit, to be more social. I felt like the Lexapro was, you couldn't drink. It was making me pee a lot in the middle of the night. There were some side effects, but not that bad. But I also felt I was better. And I didn't realize, because I wasn't seeing a psychiatrist or I wasn't seeing a psychologist, I didn't realize that you're not supposed to stop cold turkey like that. And that's what I did, and that sent me into that, spiraled me up. But I mean, ideally, if I was to get off, or I wanted to, I should have weaned myself off, very slowly, from like 20 milligrams to 15 to 10 to 5 to 2 to whatever, and then see how that goes. Not go from 20 to 0. And that's what I did. And it sent me off, and then it put me into this, put me in this place. And then I get, diagnosed with, you're bipolar. And the doctor said you probably shouldn't have even been on the Lexapro to begin with. And I felt, like I said earlier, like I felt like maybe what I went through was because I stopped cold turkey. And then some doctors will say, like, what you were going through, stress, travel, smoking pot, whatever, being on an antibiotic because I was sick in Canada, all those things, it was like a perfect storm for me to
By the way, being
happen.
on antibiotics can fuck you up big time, like emotionally, and also like when I was sick last year, I had to be on a lot of antibiotics. It fucked my memory up. Like it was hardcore. Like everything tasted like metal. Like because I was on them for a long time. It really fucked me up. People don't think that certain pills will, and those will for sure.
Yeah, and again, that it was like a perfect storm. You throw all these things in: the time travel, the extra shows. I hosted TMZ. I was feeling good. I had the HBO thing, antibiotics, smoking pot. All those things were going on. And so when I went to the hospital and you're bipolar, now it's like, well, I had an episode, and for it to happen when you're 41, it's like doesn't happen. It usually happens when you're in your 20s or 30s, not when you're in your 40s. And then looking back, the last, through therapy, the last 6 months or so, it's like, maybe I was showing some signs of mania, if you want to say, like when I quit the job at Chelsea, or when I would get into an argument at the Comedy Store, or I'd argue with my sister. But those are typical things. I wasn't getting into arguments at the Improv. I wasn't getting into arguments at UCB. I didn't have road rage. These were all like normal places where you're going to butt heads. Football players get excited during the game. Athletes get excited during the game, So I felt, looking back, maybe there was some of that, but that's what I'm struggling with now. So now they've got me, I feel like I got to listen to the doctors. I owe it to them, I guess, to stay the course, like give these medications a chance and see what it does. But in the meantime, I'm not myself, and it sucks. It sucks not having the energy, being lethargic, wanting to sleep, not finding joy. I did The Burn last night. It feels good. I was on TV. I have an HBO show on digital go internet. I should feel great about these things and capitalize on them, and I'm trying to, but it's the hardest thing in the world for me. And I know people think I'm funny, and I know the comedians love me and I got a lot of friends. And I'm not saying that adds pressure. I gotta, like, that's a good thing. But I want to get back to where I was before, and not, maybe a notch lower if or whatever. I mean, but I'm also more mature, and I'm older, and I feel like that's going to factor in too. So I would like to get off the meds, to be honest with you. I feel like if I got off them in a closely monitored or that kind of situation, but it's too soon right now because I got to let these work. And they've adjusted my cocktail, tweaked it a little bit. I mean, I'm not on that many meds, but enough to where, more than I've ever been on before. And the depression sucks. It's like I walk around, or I'll drive around and I look at people and I think about their lives. They must be happy. And I know everyone's got their problems, but I see them smiling. I see them listening to music. I don't listen to music anymore. I used to like rock and roll. I used to want to play the drums. I was that guy. And now I'm not that guy. I'm not now. It may not ever be. I hope to get back to being that guy. And, going to baseball games. I used to go to Dodger Stadium all the time, hang out with the players. I haven't gone once this year. And I have an invitation, to go hang out, go to the games early. I just don't have it in me for whatever reason. And even getting dressed in the morning is difficult. My living situation, like I said, I had to move. So all these things are coming into play. But again, I'm trying to work through it. I try to make appointments. I try to do these podcasts. And I cry. I mean, that's been a new thing. Lately, the last few weeks, I've been crying a lot. Crying to my mom, crying to my therapist, crying around my friends. Not because... I can't handle this. Like, I can't handle it. This is too hard. It's more like, why is this happening to me? It sucks, and I want to get better. And then I also know that I have the support of friends. That makes me, sometimes it's good tears, but more times than not, it's tears of frustration, tears of, when am I going to get over this thing? And I don't want to be woe's me and Brody's a downer and all that. I don't want to. I don't like going on podcasts and just talking about my issues, but that's where I'm at right now.
I think talking about them, by the way, because there's one person out there listening that's going to take something away from what you're saying.
That's
yeah.
And remember one thing, Brody. HBO.go is always going to be there. Comedy Store is always going to be there, and LA is going to be there. You got to take care of yourself. And once you get ready, you pick up, right? That man's inside of you. He just needs to, he's been kicked in the head a couple times. After I choked you 10 times, I got sleep apnea. And I didn't know I had the machine. I didn't want to sleep. Why would I want to go to sleep? I'm going to get choked the fuck out.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from, man. So, you promise to come back on here more often and give us your progress as you go along?
Yeah, I want to come on. I'm glad you called me. You called me this morning, and I said, I could have went back to bed. It was 9:45. I could have slept more, and I said, you know what?
Get up, you fuck.
Get up. It's going to be good for you. Joey wants to help you. You'll get to
no help. I just want to see you.
You want to see me?
I need to help you. I need for you to help me.
He needs help, Brody. This motherfucker needs some help.
I got more problems than you. What the fuck? Just to help me, but you just work through them. Thank you, brother.
Do you have anything coming up that you would like to talk about?
You could find my internet show, the Brody Stevens Enjoy It, yes, on HBO Go, and I think somebody put them up on YouTube. So if you search around on YouTube, you can find them up there too.
No shows coming up anywhere? Any states?
Nothing out of state, more just in state. I'm doing Chelsea Lately next week. Look for me on that on the 26th of...
That's Tuesday. No, that's Wednesday.
Of September.
That's
yeah,
Wednesday.
I'll be back on Chelsea. And then we'll see what happens for October. I have a few bucks saved up for, where I can survive for a couple months. And I would like to go on the road, at least go out with some friends. And I'm working through this, going swimming later, hiking, going to the Comedy Store. When I go to the Comedy Store, I go there for the social. I need to be around, not everybody, but it's good for me to be around people. When I'm around my friends and around positive people, it definitely helps me. And I want to say, thanks for having me on here. And I wish I had more shows to say, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago. I'm going to be in Tampa. I'm going to be in New York. I'm not right now.
I'm going to be in motherfucking L.A. Look for Brody in L.A.
Look for me in
Twitter.
L.A.
What's your Twitter handle?
Brody is me friend.
What's your Instagram?
Brode36.
I know, I see you on Instagram all the time. Who's that Jesus guy on Instagram? Let's get that motherfucker in the podcast.
We're going to take an Instagram picture after this. Where you at next week, you dirty animal?
Well, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing that AFE, which is like a USO tour through Alaska. But I'm taped an episode of Parental Discretion, which should be on Nickelodeon. And then there's another comedy show coming up on Nickelodeon. It's both going to happen within the next month. So
nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And that will be at the Baltimore Comedy Factory from August 27th to the 29th. And in Portland, Oregon on October 11th at Helium Comedy Club.
Yeah.
Go to joeycocodiaz.net for T-shirts and all that shit.
And all your dates. You have a lot of dates going on.
Go to beautyandthebeast.com to order your T-shirts there.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's been Brody, you touched my heart today. I'm happy I fucking called you. It was in the stars.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm lucky I have you in my life. And Felicia, you sexy motherfucker. I was looking at you before I got caught up, and I was thinking to myself, what do Felicia's titties smell like? You know what I'm saying?
She looks great.
Really?
She looks good today.
Well, I did come and put on lip gloss because I knew Brody was coming over.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
By the way, we would like to remind the listeners, if you've liked any of today's discussion, please go to our iTunes page on iTunes and leave a nice review, because that helps drive our numbers up on the hot list so that other people can enjoy the podcast. Sometimes we do podcasts and we do a lot of comedy ones in a row, and I have to tell you, though, I like when we have serious podcasts too. I really do. So if you would like to support us, please go to Gamefly and check out that whole thing on our webpage at beautyandthebeast.com. We also have an Amazon banner on there. If you remember, if you're going to buy something off Amazon, please go to the Beauty and the Beast webpage and buy it through our banner. It just takes you...
Help support the show.
Yeah, help support the show, because we do a lot of work on these podcasts, and we enjoy the benefits of it tenfold. But we would like to ask you guys to support us in some way, even if it's just going and looking at the Gamefly thing. And if you don't want to fucking do it, don't fucking do it. But just look at it, take an interest.
And Felicia's going to have a special announcement in the next couple of weeks. Brody, I love you. Stay black. Felicia, you sexy motherfucker.
Jesus Christ, Joey, you're a fucking animal.
You're a savage.